What is better for your portfolio, ETFs or individual stocks? Today we break it down side by side so you can make the right choice for your situation. A special thanks to Michael from Denver for requesting this video. I'm Katie St. Ors, Certified Financial Planner and Licensed Tax Consultant. Let's get going. This information is for educational purposes only and does not replace personalized tax advice. When most people start investing, they face the same fork in the road. Do you pick individual companies you believe in? Or do you buy a fund that holds hundreds of stocks at once? Both approaches can build real wealth, but they work very differently, and the right answer depends on your goals, your tax situation, and how much time you want to spend managing your money. Let's start with what each one actually is. An ETF, or exchange-traded fund, is a basket of securities that trades on a stock exchange just like a single stock. When you buy one share of an ETF, you may instantly own a slice of hundreds or even thousands of companies. For example, a broad market fund like the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF gives you exposure to nearly the entire U.S. stock market in a single purchase, while something like the SPDR S&P 500 ETF Trust tracks the performance of 500 of the largest U.S. companies. An individual stock, on the other hand, gives you direct ownership in one specific company. Your return rises and falls entirely with that company's performance. The first major difference between ETFs and individual stocks is diversification. With a broad market ETF, a single bad earnings report from one company barely moves the needle on your overall portfolio. With individual stocks, one bad quarter can wipe out months of gains. For retirees and those approaching retirement, this distinction is not just academic. It is the difference between sleeping at night and watching your account in a panic. That said, individual stocks offer something ETFs simply cannot: the potential for outsized returns. If you bought shares of a company early in its growth cycle, your gains can far exceed anything a broad index would deliver. This is why many experienced investors hold both. They use ETFs as a stable core and add individual stocks as satellite positions where they have high conviction. And from a risk management standpoint, most certified financial planners suggest that no single individual stock should exceed 5% of your total portfolio. Even in a satellite strategy, spread those picks across several different companies to avoid what we call idiosyncratic risk, the danger of one company's problems dragging down your entire portfolio. Let me break that down for you with an example. Let's say you have $100,000 to invest. You put $80,000 into a total market ETF and $20,000 into 3 individual stocks you have researched carefully. In a year where the broad market returns 8%, your ETF portion grows to $86,400. Now let's say one of your individual stocks doubles, one stays flat, and one drops 20%. You started with roughly $6,600 in each position. Your winner grows to $13,200, your flat stock stays at $6,600, and your 20% loser drops to about $5,300. Your stock portion totals roughly $25,100, close to $25,300 when you account for rounding. Combined with your ETF, your total portfolio is now approximately $111,500, a return of just over 11%, beating the market because of your stock picks. But flip that scenario. If your picks underperform and your loser falls harder, you could end up well below what a pure ETF strategy would have returned. That is the real trade-off. ETFs give you predictable participation in market growth. Individual stocks give you the chance to beat the market and the risk of falling behind it. Now let's talk about costs. ETFs charge an expense ratio, a small annual percentage fee that covers fund management. Broad index ETFs often charge as little as 3 to 20 basis points per year, which on a $100,000 portfolio is $30 to $200 annually. Individual stocks have no ongoing management fee. You pay a commission when you buy or sell, and many brokers have eliminated that entirely. And with most brokers now offering fractional shares, you can build a diversified individual stock portfolio even with smaller amounts of capital. The price of one share is no longer a barrier. So on the surface, individual stocks can look cheaper, but the hidden cost is your time and the risk of making emotional decisions. Most individual investors underperform the market, not because they picked bad companies, but because they bought and sold at the wrong times. Taxes are where this comparison gets especially important for this audience. ETFs, particularly index ETFs, are highly tax efficient. Because of how they are structured, they rarely distribute capital gains to shareholders. You generally only owe taxes when you sell your ETF shares. Individual stocks give you more direct control over your tax outcomes. You decide exactly when to sell, which means you can time your gains and losses strategically. You can harvest losses to offset gains elsewhere in your portfolio. You can hold a winning stock for over a year to qualify for long-term capital gains rates. Individual stocks also give you the ultimate control over the wash sale rule. If you sell a specific stock at a loss, you can immediately pivot to a different company in the same sector without triggering the substantially identical securities rule that can sometimes trip up ETF investors who try to swap between very similar funds. For high-income investors and small business owners in higher tax brackets, this level of control can be genuinely valuable. For self-employed investors and small business owners investing through a SEP IRA, solo 401k, or taxable brokerage account, both ETFs and individual stocks are fully available. Inside a retirement account, the tax efficiency advantage of ETFs matters less because growth is already tax-deferred or tax-free. In a taxable account, that tax efficiency becomes a meaningful advantage. There is also the question of dividends. Many ETFs and individual stocks pay dividends, but individual stocks let you build a very targeted income stream. Dividend-focused investors sometimes prefer owning specific companies with strong and growing dividend histories rather than a fund that dilutes that income across hundreds of holdings, some of which pay no dividend at all. Here is what you need to take away from this. If you are building your first serious portfolio or you are within 10 years of retirement, lean heavily toward ETFs. They give you broad exposure, low cost, and tax efficiency with very little ongoing decision-making required. If you are a confident investor with time to research companies and a tax strategy in place, adding individual stocks as a satellite portion of your portfolio, 10 to 30%, can enhance your returns without abandoning the stability of your core ETF holdings. Remember, keep any single stock position under 5% of your total portfolio. For high net worth investors with a complex tax picture, there is a strategy worth knowing called direct indexing. Instead of buying an ETF, you own the individual stocks that make up an index directly in your account. This gives you ETF-like diversification while allowing you to harvest losses on individual positions at a very granular level, something a pooled fund simply cannot do for you. It is one of the most powerful tax strategies available to investors with larger portfolios. The worst approach is going all in on individual stocks without a plan, chasing headlines, or holding too few positions. The second worst approach is assuming ETFs are always the safe and passive choice without understanding what is inside the fund you are buying. Not all ETFs are created equal. A leveraged ETF or a single sector ETF can be just as volatile as owning individual stocks. The best investors use both tools deliberately. ETFs for the foundation, individual stocks where they have genuine knowledge and a clear reason to own them. And for those with larger portfolios, direct indexing as a bridge between the two. Thanks for watching. I'm Katie St. Ors. See you for my next video, where I talk about everyone's favorite subject, taxes. This information is for educational purposes only and does not replace personalized tax advice.